Very much unlike the boy who cried wolf scenario of 2020, the coming waves of new diseases and pandemics are not going to have 97% survival rates. For those of you who have forgotten, of course, in 2020, they immediately clamped down, shut everything down, said this was going to be the end, but then all of a sudden we started to see newscasters who contracted COVID coming back on the air from their homes and saying, yeah, it's kind of a bad cold. And that was over at CNN. So people really pushed back against what the government was trying to do. Well, in the coming waves of pandemics, you're going to see a very different thing because people are going to wake up to what a real pandemic is like. And that's what a lot of governments are afraid of right now. Over the last year or two, especially over at the Patreon channel, I have counseled all of my audience, whatever you need to do to see tomorrow, any day you wake up above ground breathing, that's a good day, that's what you should do. It's the very fundamental tenet and basic belief system that is incorporated into SEER training. Survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. Now, I know this is a very different scenario being captured by the enemy, but really, in essence, it's not. You do whatever you need to do to wake up tomorrow. There is no scenario that says death is preferable. Now, real quick, before we get into today's video, I have a fantastic, absolutely stunning article to share with you from only a few days ago that I think a lot of you are going to want to read. But over at the Patreon channel, we've got brand new videos over there where we kind of take the gloves off, so to speak, especially the last one. Kind of get under some people's skin a little bit, but it's just the truth. It's the unvarnished truth. Over there, it's only one single US dollar per month. Even less if you sign up for an entire year. Fully refundable, first 90 days, no questions asked. We do 4 to 5 videos a month over there. So it's fairly inexpensive and fully refundable. You got 90 days to kind of kick the tires, so to speak. And then you can, if you don't like the videos, inbox me personally over there and say, hey, Florida Maquis, thanks for your attempt here, but it's just not for me. Can I have my $3 back? Not a problem. I've done it for a lot of folks. It just is what it is. Now, also in yesterday's video, I had mentioned that I was going to be taking part in a program where they basically inject me with a virus. And that virus is going to stimulate an immune response based on the fact that I was inoculated against smallpox way long time ago. And then in my plasma, they are going to put me through a process called plasmapheresis a couple times a week. And they're going to draw out the plasma, and that plasma will be used to create different treatments for those who have adverse reactions to the coming smallpox vaccines. Now, this is basically what plasmapheresis is. In a nutshell, Patriot Nurse can tell you a whole lot more about this than I can. I would counsel asking her about this entire process. She's, of course, a trained nurse. Basically, your blood is a combination of cells and plasma. If you spin it in a centrifuge, it'll separate. And once it separates, you get the plasma at the top. Then you get your white blood cells and platelets and your red blood cells. They pull the plasma off. They do this multiple times. And you give a liter twice a week. So it's definitely something that is going to be needed. It's something they've been talking about for quite some time. Let me see if I can click out of this real quick. No thanks. FDA signs off on updated COVID-19 vaccines that target circulating variants. Now, wasn't one of the big arguments against the last vaccine, tell me if I'm wrong, but I heard all sorts of people say, it's not FDA approved, it's not FDA approved, and it really made me scratch my head. Because I'm like, wait a minute, the FDA is part of the government, the Food and Drug Administration is part of the government. If you're saying you already don't trust the government, you already don't trust the bureaucracies, you don't trust those who are the quote-unquote deep state, why would that matter? It kind of goes along with, and we'll do another video on this, the idea of legal versus illegal immigration. People are saying, oh, we're not against brown-skinned people. We're not against people from other countries coming here. We just want them to do it legally. No, you don't. No, you don't. Who do you think's in charge of immigration? Washington, D.C. Why would it matter if they passed a test administered by the deep state in immigration? Because that's really who the deep state is. If you want to talk about who the deep state is, it's those people working in the bureaucracies that aren't elected, that work behind the scenes, that make these choices. It's about as logical as CNN Business saying on Monday, September 11, 2023, that Americans have never been wealthier. It's the most ridiculous article because, you ready for this? Only on the 10th of August, 1 month ago, they reported credit card and car loan delinquencies past pre-COVID levels as consumers get squeezed. How in the world do you put those two things together and say that here they were reporting correct information and here they're reporting correct information? How can people be defaulting on credit cards and going delinquent on their car and credit cards at astounding rates, but then also report that people are wealthy? Now, this is an article, 12 August 2023, Hong Kong. Monkeypox. Quote, I feel like I have Ebola. This goes to what I was talking about before. Patient warns, fear of enforced isolation may stop people from reporting infections. Now, stop for 1 minute, take a breath, and read that slowly to yourself. This guy in Hong Kong says that he feels like he has Ebola. Now, for the average strong young adult, monkeypox is not the end of the world. For immunocompromised people, it is. But if the extremely harsh quarantine procedures are doing this kind of harm, that when people get sick, they're afraid of being the source of governments locking everyone down, that they're going to keep it to themselves, what's going to happen to the spread of real diseases? And this is the article I was referencing also from 17 August. The World Health Organization's proposed amendments will increase man-made pandemics because of the funding and where it goes and how it's decided who gets the money for what. The very same money that's going to prevent is going to research and make them worse. I'll give you the link to this. It's brownstone.org. This article was only put out about a month ago, and I haven't seen anybody report on it. Basically, the gist of it is this. The money that they're going to say they need to help research and create preventions for gain of function is actually being used for gain of function. Think about that for 1 minute. Smallpox, monkeypox, for every person that gets it, 7 will get it. Ebola, 2. That's the difference between the two. And I got some very strange comments yesterday about people saying that, oh, it was all created by smallpox and Ebola have been around far longer than there have been people in Washington, D.C. or people doing gain of function research. These diseases have been around for a long time, and they killed a lot of people going all the way back 3,000-4,000 years ago. In fact, here's a graphic history of pandemics. The Black Death, 200 million in the 1300s. Smallpox, 56 million in the 1500s. Yellow fever, this tiny little dot here, late 1800s. Everybody's heard of this. 100 to 150,000. Spanish flu, 40 to 50 million. The turn of the last century. HIV and AIDS, 25 to 35 million. And this dot here is COVID-19 ongoing. This is cholera. As you can see, farther you go back in history, they've come and they've gone. But they weren't caused by governments. This is why the U.S. military for so long has inoculated everybody. And some people even more, depending on where you're going. So I just wanted to lay this out there and show you what's happening and answer something else too about this concept that people say, Florida Maquis, because of the things that you said and shown and talked about, you're going to hell. There's a very strange paradox about the idea of hell. For some people, hell is a continued existence of not knowing when the end will come. There are people out there, even though the Bible says not to, like, oh, when is the Lord going to come? When is the Lord going to come? When are we going to be raptured away? This is just a living hell down here. It's like, well, wait a minute. Wait. This is not hell. You're not there yet. You're not there yet. I mean, what would heaven be to you? I mean, would it be knowing everything every day or not having any worries? See, the idea of just being above ground and breathing, which is what this is. These are pictures, by the way, that are from a dungeon in World of Warcraft called the Bloodmaw Slag Mines. And they did a very good job making it look like what hell may be. You know, you got this, you're way down the volcano, everything's all hot and burning, and they've got these shanty towns built up for the slave labor, and everybody's got their little hovel. You see, that's kind of the idea. Any day above ground and breathing is a good day. No matter what challenges we face. No matter what we do or don't know. If we get to wake up tomorrow, that's a good day. It kind of goes along with the whole prison thing we talked about for so long. For those guys, any day that would not see them behind bars would be heaven, would it not? Ask yourself, ask anybody who's known anybody who's ever been to prison. That day you get out is something they dream about. And for some of them, it's a pipe dream. They're never going to get out. Allegedly. But any day on the outside, just like that guy up in Pennsylvania who escaped, and they're trying to cordon him in, every day, every night, I don't care whether he's got to sleep in the woods, sleep under a dumpster. For him, way preferable. A lot of those guys would be great at SEER training. They capture this guy up in Pennsylvania, they should make him an instructor for what the dragnets that he's already beaten. Survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. Guys, I'm telling you, with these new waves of diseases, waves of pandemics, all this kind of stuff coming down the road, it's the attitude we're going to have. We're going to have to take it one day at a time and not profess any particular stance, saying I'm always going to do this or always going to do that. Because what might have been a good decision a week ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, might not be the right decision next week, next month, next year. So that's all I'm saying, in this video. But I will give you a link to this article. It's really great. It's brownstone.org. The WHO's proposed amendments will increase man-made pandemics. The case this particular writer makes is perfect. Her name is Meryl Nass. And it absolutely lays out why that the fear of trying to prevent something is going to create the very thing they're trying to prevent. So I will leave it there. But once again, thank you. Could very much use your support at Patreon. All of us out here could. It's, it is what it is. We wouldn't ask if it wasn't something right now where it's kind of a life or death thing. So $1 per month. That's it. Even less if you sign up for an entire year, fully refundable, first 90 days. I know a lot of people look at my subscriber count and they're like, well, gosh, you've got 131,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Even if you had 5 or 10% of that, you'd be fine. I don't even have 2 at Patreon. Not even 2% have showed up over there. So I just wanted to let you know that's the level we're at. So God bless all of you. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. God bless. We'll see you guys next time.